Hi Aries, Sun, Moon, Ascendant, or Venus. This is Dane, and I'm going to be doing your Mercury retrograde reading for you. Now I ask if this reading resonates with you, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload new videos, and I upload all the time, just hit the bell notification button. And if you're interested in any of the cards that I'm using, they will all be linked and listed in the description box below. Now before we begin this reading, just a reminder not to engage with anybody who is soliciting you in the comment box below, stating that they are me, asking you if you want to buy readings from them. That is not me. I'm actually closed to private readings at this time. I will not be soliciting you for anything. So just completely ignore them, report them. If they do come along and I haven't seen them, then send that information also to me before you report them, so I can also report them to YouTube. Okay, thank you so much for that. Now let's clear the energy space, raising our own energy vibration and releasing any negativity. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. Clearing all negativity from the body like storm clouds. Letting yourself feel calm, steady, and at peace as you enter into this safe and loving space. Now let's let the bowl sing as we see what the tarot has to say. And actually, as the bowl sings, I know you're probably thinking, Dane, Mercury retrograde begins on the 30th of January. It goes to the 21st. Why are you coming out with it so early? That's because of the pre-retrograde. That begins on the 15th of January. And if you're sensitive to the movement of the planets, of the stars, like I am, you can be seeing Mercury retrograde starting to kind of wiggle its ugly claws into your life right now. So here it's like, let's prepare, let's see how this will affect us, how it will be, impacting our lives, what we have to be mindful of, and how we need to move forward for the betterment of ourselves. Because Lord knows, 2020 was one heck of a year. 2021 is starting off quite intensely. So forewarned is forearmed. And if we can better move forward with Spirit's guidance at our hull, that is going to be the very best thing for us. So let's dive in. Let's see what the cards have to say. How will Aries be affected by Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? How will Aries be affected by Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? How will Aries be affected by Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. This one. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading. Fantastic. Can you see these? Okay. I'm going to move them down just a little bit. So what's also really cool about Mercury retrograde is that we know that Mercury retrograde affects us in all aspects of communication, and that it kind of, it also is a bit of a trickster. Like you can see things starting to, not starting, but you can see the trick of things, like the twist of things as time goes on, and you're like, oh wow, you know, I didn't think it would manifest like that. Or when I stated this, or when I signed this, I thought it was so explicitly clear. Like, you know, now I see where the confusion was. But because it has this bit of a trickster element into it, it can surprise us. But what's really cool is the astrologer Aaron Sullivan has discovered that the ratio of time Mercury spends in retrograde and direct, so when Mercury is in retrograde, it moves backwards, and when it's direct, it moves forward, is equal to the time that human beings spend awake and asleep. So the time that we are in retrograde, it's the time to take stock of what's happening to ourselves, like what does our subconscious need us to know? What do we keep on tripping over? Because that's being brought to the forefront of our attention. And I thought that was so cool when I read that, because I was reading up about Mercury retrograde. I was like, oh my gosh, do I have to share that with you guys? Because it makes so much sense. So let's see here what the chakra energy is for you during this time, Aries. How will Aries be affected by Mercury retrograde? January 30th to February 21st, 2021. How will Aries be affected by Mercury retrograde? January 30th to February 21st, 2021. How will Aries be affected by Mercury retrograde? January 30th to February 21st, 2021. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. These four. So we start here with grounding. This is the Earth Star chakra, and we're going to see how this all equates back to the tarot in just a moment. Then we have communication, of course, the third chakra coming through, loud and proud. Then we have the inner child, the heart chakra. Goodness. Let me see here. Get them to stand straight like that. Oh, brilliant. Okay. You can't see that either. Okay. And then finally, personal power, which is the solar plexus chakra coming forward. So I'm just going to move this stone over here, this heart. There we go. Brilliant. Now the left-hand side is the inner self. The middle is the heart, the emotional self. The right-hand side, the public arena, the public self. So let's see what they have to say. We have the Eight of Air, the Eight of Swords. Unity, which is the Hierophant in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. So this is Taurus energy, especially powerful if you're born on the cusp with Taurus. You have the Ace of Water, the Ace of Cups. Three of Fire, the Three of Wands. The King of Earth, Earth sign energy coming through once again. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, there we go. The Five of Water. The Page of Air, air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, which is very, very interesting because this retrograde is in Aquarius and has the spirit of Aquarius in it, which Aquarius is this very spiritual, very healing sign, but it can also have an aspect of being very aloof. So the aloofness comes forward, and retrograde, the Mercury retrograde, the planet Mercury, is actually very happy in Aries, not in Aries, in Aquarius. So this is going to be a time, Aries, where you start to see things kind of balancing a little bit. Like this retrograde isn't going to be as intense as, let's say, the next one is, which I believe is in June, which is going to be in Gemini, and that's where things are going to get like really more intense. Like it's going to be a stronger retrograde. This is a little bit more of a mellowed out retrograde, which is very, very nice. We've all been through quite enough. We have the Seven of Air, the Seven of Swords. The Seven of Fire, the Seven of Wands. Renewal, which is the World card in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. No, it's not. It is the Judgment card. Renewal is the Judgment card. There we go. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Then we have the Emperor. You're coming through loud and proud right here as the essence of yourself. And then we have the Six of Water, the Six of Cups. Awesome. Now let's look at, now this isn't necessarily just going to be the people you have to be mindful of during this time. What Spirit is saying to me right now is this is going to be a personality trait that you have to be mindful during the time of Mercury retrograde, because it's just not going to jive as well with you as it would normally. So we're going to start off, Spirit is saying start off with the people to be mindful of, and then we'll move to the people who will be aiding you. Who are the people that Aries has to be mindful of during Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? Who are the people that Aries needs to be mindful of during Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels. Oh, fantastic. 4 again. And spirit guides. Now, it's very interesting because in Mercury retrograde, you'll usually see things happening in pairs, okay? So the fact that we have 4 chakra cards and 4, people to be mindful of, you're going to kind of see things happening 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, lessons kind of coming at you. So that's going to be something just to be mindful of during this time, that it's not going to be once that you have to face something, though it's going to seem like once is more than enough. It's going to be, twice that you have to really look at something, really kind of come together with it. So we start off here with the Prince of Wands, fire sign energy, of course. So you are a fire sign energy, and fire sign energy calls to fire sign energy. So you're going to feel very drawn to this person, but this person is going to be a bit reckless. Now, again, Spirit is saying it's not just a person, Dane, it is a way of being. So this is going to be a personality trait that's kind of like, let's just go. Let's not think, just go after it, just do it, just plow forward. And that's great for some people. During this Mercury retrograde, you're going to want to make sure you dot your I's and you cross your T's. So this is going to be a time where just charging into things is not going to be the most advantageous to you. So you want to very much be careful of a person who can be a little bit hot-headed during this time, a little bit impulsive, and they can really sweep you up into it. This is going to be that personality trait that makes it sound like they have the best idea in the whole entire world. And when you kind of step back from that person, you step back from the situation, you're like, oh my gosh, this isn't what I thought it was. This isn't as relevant or as good as I thought it was going to be. So I need to step back and not get swept away. So that's going to be very important for you. Then you are also being warned about the Taurus energy here, the Hierophant. So this is a time frame, April 20th to May 20th. You have a very positive Taurus energy here. You have a negative Taurus energy. So this is going to be a person, or this can be a person who's making you, excuse me, feel a little bit trapped and overwhelmed during this time. So it's negative and positive, because there's a sense here that you're seeing your power, you're seeing your truth, you're seeing where it is that you want to be. And you're kind of getting caught up with this person who sits there and says, well, I'm the boss, or I'm the person that you have to listen to. And if you do not listen to me, you're wrong. And there can be a bit of a power struggle here, because the Hierophant, represented in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck by the Pope, has power over the Emperor, had power over the Emperor back in medieval times. So this is going to be a person that seems to have power over you in one way or another. They know your weaknesses, they know how to manipulate the situation. They're going to be using that as much as they can. They're going to be using your shortcomings as much as they can to get what they want. And this is especially going to be if this person, any way, shape, or form, thinks that you owe them something, or that they need you and they feel like they can't do it without you. They're going to be highly manipulative and very scheming. And this is just something that you need to be mindful of, because you've kind of walked down this path before. This isn't going to be something that's terribly new to you, but it is going to be something that is very, very aggravating. Then you have the Hermit, Virgo energy, August 23rd to September 22nd, another earth sign energy. Coming forward. This is a person who is way too introspective, way too aloof, is very much being charged by the Aquarius energy in in the Mercury retrograde, because they are really embracing the spirituality of things. They're really embracing the aloofness, but they're taking it to a little bit of an extreme. It's kind of like, you can't possibly understand me. You can't possibly see what I'm seeing. You can't possibly know what I know. And, we can never know what another person knows. We can never see as another person sees. So in one sense, they're right. And there is going to be that sense of okay, well, I can see kind of where you're coming from. But they're going to just take it one step too far. And you're going to sit there and be like, no, I can't. Or like, you have to walk down this path with me. And if you're not walking down this path exactly, we can't talk. We can't possibly, be friends, or, or work together, or something to that effect. Like, they're taking things just too far. So just be very, very mindful of that. And then we have here Sagittarius energy. This is a time frame of November 22nd to December 21st. This is a person who, again, just very much plays off of the Virgo energy. They are seeking, they are questing, they are diving deeper, and they're not going to be interested in sharing it with anyone. Absolutely not. And again, the Aquarius energy is kind of very strong around them. And there is a sense here of just really embracing that aloofness, really embracing their questions, their seeking. And this is somebody that you can get really kind of caught up in their journey. It's kind of like you're watching somebody on YouTube and they're telling you their story. And all of a sudden you feel like their story is your story. You're reading a biography. And it's not just you're reading this book or you're watching this biographical movie. It's like this directly affects you. And this is going to be a time where you can very easily get into the story of another person's life. And Spirit is saying here, watch how that affects you, because you'll see that it starts to affect your mood. It starts to affect the way you feel about yourself and those around you. And that's going to be kind of like a slippery slope to kind of, to get in, or to be heading down. You have the Earth chakra, the throat chakra, the inner child, the heart chakra, and the solar plexus. You're grounding yourself during this time. During this Mercury retrograde, divinity is testing your roots. It's testing how strong your roots are, how flexible you are to the change that is around you, to the chaos that is called forward. So this is going to be a time with your earth, with the earth star chakra, that you need to connect with the earth. Now, if you're in a cold climate like I am, you might think, oh, I don't want to. But if you can spend just a little bit of time every single week, it doesn't have to be every single day, but every single week outside, walking, or just, having a cup of tea outside, though I do know it can get rather cold, but just doing something where you're outside, playing outside, walking the dogs, doing something like that, where you can connect with the earth, you can re-root yourself, you can ground yourself. That is going to be so important. If you're in a warmer part of the world and it's not so terribly cold outside, then just being outside, connecting with the earth is going to be so absolutely powerful for you. Or just sitting in the sun. That is, again, going to be a great way. And visualizing your roots going deep, your power coming forward, that is going to be a great way to embrace this connection. Because the Earth Star Chakra here is saying, be grounded in your truth. See your truth. See your power. Let it lead you forward. Because during this time where communications are really being tested, they are being tested and tried during this time, you're going to find that you need to connect with your inner self. You need to communicate with you. And you can even find during this time where you say, I need, and you're going to find that changes like throughout the day. It changes almost at times minute to minute, because you're trying to handle so much and you don't want anything to slip, because we're coming out of such an intense time. And we're still in it. Things are still intense and chaotic. So we don't want to feed the chaos of miscommunication. We don't want to feed the chaos of, I'll just shout louder than you, and that will obviously mean that I'm right, because that's not getting us anywhere. This is a sense of really centering on the inner self and saying, I need you to ground me, divinity. I need you to guide me. I need to see my way forward. I need to understand my truth more than I am confused by it. And I need to look at what's confusing me and say, maybe I need to take a break of it. Maybe I need to step back a moment. And I know that if it's work and if it's, family, you can't step back from it, but you can not engage the way that they want you to, because there are going to be people, and we see it here with the people who are trying you, there are going to be people who are like poking the bear, and they want to see you Aries, they want to see you roar up. They want to see you go after what you are passionate about. Go after what you feel that you are vitally protecting. And if you're not rising to their occasion, they can come at you a little bit harder, but you're going to find that you're really communicating not with them. You're communicating with divinity. You're communicating with your sacred power. You're communicating with what you need. And you're really, if you check in every single day, every hour and say, okay, where am I at? That's going to be so healthy for you because it's going to be adding to that grounding. It's going to be taking you out of the chaos. Well, I have 18 million things to do. I can't stop. If I stop, I'm just going to drop the ball. I'm so tired already. I'm so stressed out. It will add to that. And then the roots will start to be very shallow. But if you check in, you're strengthening those roots. You're finding yourself moving forward in greater power. And this is going to be a person, and we see that here with the 8 of air. This is going to be a person, and it's going to be a person that has some sort of authority over you, that knows what buttons to press, knows the scars of the inner child. This could be a person you thought was a friend. This could be a person that, just can size up people really, really well. So if you sit there with your inner child, arms wide open, and say, I love you. I love you. I'm here for you. I'm holding you. I will not let you go. We have this. And I will always be there to listen to you. You are going to find that you kind of cut this person off at the knees. You cut this energy off at the knees because you're going to find things that are very triggering during this time. It's not just a lack of communication. It's a sense of being tested and being tested time and time again in the way that we human beings are tested the most or put the most stock in, and that's communication. You can't live without communication. You just can't. Well, maybe you can. You don't have to talk to anybody, but you still connect with the earth. You still connect with yourself. You still connect with the soul inside of you. And so here, when we embrace our heart chakra, when we embrace what we love and we embrace loving ourselves, that gives us a powerful shift that really does start changing the game. And it leads you to that personal power. It leads you to the solar plexus chakra, where your stomach will tell you exactly what you feel, exactly what you need. You're going to sit there and find that you start craving certain things because your body's like, I need this sort of energy. You're going to find that you stumble across, things that people say, and you're like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. And you're going to be incorporating that into your life because it brings you a sense of power. It brings you a sense of calm, a sense of reason, a sense of greater knowledge, of greater truth. And that opens up a door to you. It really does. And it sits there and it's like, this is my power. This is my truth. I'm not messing around. I'm not here for this to be a joke. I'm here to really move forward in this power. And in your inner self, what happens is that things get kind of caught up. The 8 of air, the 8 of swords, is that feeling trapped, that going along with the stampede. And instead of seeing the magic that is around you, instead of seeing the power of the mind and the beauty that you have and everything that you've accumulated, it's like just being caught up. And that's what we see with the Prince of Wands. It can very easily be a place where we get caught up and we try to move forward in the way that everybody else wants us to, or the way that we think we should be moving, instead of checking in with ourselves and saying, this is what I need. This is where I need to be. This is who I am. And if we do this, if we get caught up in things, we'll find ourselves getting tangled. It's kind of like when you're walking the dogs. If you have dogs and they wrap themselves around you and you're just sitting there, you're like, how the heck did this happen? You get all tangled up. And this is going to be something that will happen with words. This is going to be something that will happen with ideas. If you can have a schedule, I know myself, schedules are important, but I hate them. I feel like somebody's telling me what to do, and there's this like little rebellious side inside of me that just doesn't want to be told what to do at all. So here, if you can check in with yourself, if you can sit there and say, this is what needs to be done, and I have this amount of time to, X amount of hours in a day to start to get this done. How do I move forward? Like, how do I embrace this grace, this prosperity, this bounty? And instead of sitting there and getting really hard on yourself, because one of the things this Mercury retrograde is going to do, because we're coming out of, or we're in, and finding the ending of a really trying, really heartbreaking time, you're going to find that you can make things become so much more intense than they need to be. All of a sudden, something that wouldn't normally get escalated becomes much more escalated within your head. And all of a sudden, you're trapped again. And you're saying, I always do this. I can't believe I messed up. So stepping back and saying, what is it that unites me with the power of me? What is it that guides me forward towards something more? What is my power, my understanding? Because there is going to be this voice of saying, this is the way you're supposed to do it. This is the way everybody else does it. And I'm a failure for not doing it this way. Or this is the way a boss wants me to do it, or a partner wants me to do it, or a friend that I really admire wants me to do it. But I just can't, because it's not me. And here, there is a level of strength. And Aries, you have strength, it abounds. But to call on that strength and to not let that strength make you feel like you have to fight, like make you angry, make you, more intense, can be very challenging. And so here, what you're doing is you're calling forward your power. You're calling forward the essence of you and saying, what are the things, like what are the principles to me that I need to follow that move me forward in abundance, in truth, in understanding, and keep me to be able to look at myself in the eye, in the mirror, and be happy with what I see. Be happy with the spirit of the person that stands before me. And so that's what you're going to be asking yourself during this Mercury retrograde. As things get turned on their heads, as people get turned on their heads, you ground yourself in this power of your truth, and it becomes this very powerful, very beautiful way of checking in, of finding your true north as you move forward. And this is going to be a time where there's the power of angels around you, and there's the power of what it is that you desire. And you start to get this gift during this time of healing, of clearing away a lot of the negativity, a lot of the anger, a lot of the upset, a lot of the upheavals, and saying, I can't hold on to pain, hurt, doubt, and fear anymore. I can't, sit there and live in the past or live for the future. You plan for the future, yes. But to say, I will be happy when, it's enough of that. Now is your time. This is your life. It is time to drink deeply of your cup of inspiration, but also to drink deeply of your truth and of your honor and of your understanding and of your blessings. And this is a time where you can also feel personally during this time a little bit more sensitive than you would want to feel during a Mercury retrograde. I mean, this is a bit of a easier Mercury retrograde as Mercury retrogrades go. The Aquarius energy of it does balance it out, but it still is intense. And so here, as you drink deeply of this cup, as you see your power, as you embrace your understanding, as you're guided by your grace, you're going to find that you're purging away a lot of the negativity that held you back, a lot of the things that kept you from moving forward the way that you want to. This happens because you're checking into your heart chakra. I mean, the Ace of Cups definitely has us checking into our hearts in a way that we might feel very uncomfortable doing, but we dive deeper into it. We start to see the beauty of it. We drink deeply of its truth and of its power and of its grace, and it leads us to the Three of Fire, the Three of Wands. It leads us to this place of passion and new horizons and new ideas and ideals, and this sense of being able to move forward, this sense of saying, oh, I can, can't I? Because there's such a strong force during this time of, I can't, or, I'm heading in this direction, I'm going towards this truth, but I just get tripped up. I just get tripped up time and time again. And you're tired of it. It's overwhelming. It's too much. You want to move forward. And this is a time where you start to see, but I can, can't I? I can move forward. I can go after this. It might not be exactly the way that you envisioned it. It might not be even the way that you wanted it in the beginning, but you're starting to see like, this is my path. This is my truth. This is my calling. And it doesn't have to be something big. We always think it has to be big. It can be very small. It can be very gentle. But as we start to see these positive connotations coming forward, as we start to see these positive reactions coming forward, it gives us hope. It gives us blessings. It gives us power. It gives us truth. And it moves us then to the King of Earth in our hearts. It moves us to this beautiful grounding. And here it says generous, professional, responsible, and practical. And that's what you're embracing here, this generosity of spirit, this practicality, this responsibility, taking on the burdens and sitting there and saying, how do I make this work for me? And so as you're moving forward here, there is a sense of really grounding yourself in who it is that you are. That's why the unity, coming into unity with the essence of yourself, with what it is that you desire, with this greater power, this greater understanding, these things that are just these immovable truths of yours. It's kind of like, if I went against this, I'd be fracturing me just a bit. I'd be not living up to the expectations or to the power that I was born with. And so here, you're embracing that unity of spirit. You're embracing that power of self. The earth sign energy is connecting you, with the earth sign energy that can be in your chart, okay, but also with the earth sign energy of this time. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn is the earth sign energy in the zodiac. And so here, you're looking at your rooted self. Think of yourself as this beautiful garden. What are you planting in it? How are things connecting? It's kind of like the way I would go shopping for plants, or the way I would plant seeds. And I would just pick out whatever it is that I like and say, okay, whatever takes, whatever doesn't. One of my brothers, on the other hand, would sit there and do his research and figure out the seeds that, the plants that grow best by each other, and that, will make the soil the most healthy for them, and that will play off of each other and have the most prosperous yielding. We do things differently, but it doesn't mean that we both don't do things in the spirit of ourselves. So he's more of a planner, I'm more of a fly by the seater, pantser, as they would call them. So here it's kind of like, let's move forward in the way that is right for us. And then we start to see the interconnectedness. You'll start to see the way things come forward, the way things grow, the way things naturally develop, or the way that it's kind of like the three sisters in Native American culture, and some of the Native American cultures, where they would plant the seeds that, in a place that would best play off each other, that would best, bring them abundance. And that's what you're doing here. I'm really seeing the three sisters really coming forward very, very powerfully. And there's a sense here of you seeing, even if you are more like me, let things happen organically, see what may. You're going to see that things start to sprout up where they need to. You're going to start to see that things are more interconnected than you thought they were. And it leads you to this place where you have the Five of Cups, the Five of Water. You start to release a lot of the negativity that was holding back your heart, because you can look at the failures, and we can spend our whole lives here, and people do, most definitely. People spend their whole lives with just staring at the Three Cups that are down on the ocean floor, that are forgotten and nothing. And yet we have the Two of Cups right here. The Two of Cups in the Minor Arcana is the Minor Arcana Lovers card. It's like, let's start falling in love with life again. Let's start healing. Let's start moving forward. So as you ground yourself, Aries, in your truth and in your power, you start falling in love with, and you start healing. And that's a huge step forward that leads you to being a student of your mind, that leads you to really embracing this Aquarius time. That's why you're so protected by it. And it so balances you. And it says logical, honest, impulsive, and curious. That's what you are. You are practical, and you are generous, and you're professional, and you're, extremely, extremely practical in things. But you also, want to discover more and are inspired by the magic that is around you. And so here, you become that student. You look at things openly and honestly and curiously, and you start to see yourself pushing forward. You start to see yourself going after what's so Spirit is saying so powerful for you. Is that powerful drive that has you saying, why can't it change? Why can't I see these patterns and stop it? Why can't I break this pattern that I've been in for so long? And you start to look at your reasoning, you start to look at the knowledge that you have around you, you start really communicating with your inner self. And that starts breaking down the barriers, and it leads you to the Seven of Air. It leads you to this place where you have gathered this knowledge, the Seven of Swords. You've gathered this knowledge, you've gathered this understanding, you're leaving some things behind, okay? But you have this brilliance around you, and you start moving forward. You start going after what it is that you need, where it is that you need to be, soul, spirit, and self. You start looking at things more openly, more honestly, more in line with what it is that you want from life. Now, this is not a time where you start sharing your ideas with everybody. Actually, your heart is going to to guard what it is that it wants very, very jealously. Because, well, jealously, no, Spirit had me say that for a reason. And it can be that you can get a little bit jealous at times, like you look at people, and that's also what the Mercury retrograde can do, which is one of the things that I really don't like about it. It can make us really jealous. So we're already in a vulnerable time, right? We've already, been through this really intense time and are still going through it. And so jealousy is kind of on the rise. And then with this time coming in, it can make us even more jealous because it's like, well, I'm looking at what they have and what I don't have. I'm looking at how they're, getting what they want, how they're communicating their needs, and they're getting this success or this acknowledgement, and I'm not getting the same thing. And so you can start to see it now. I know I have, where it's like it frays you just a bit. So here, it's not looking at the cups as half empty or more than half empty with the 5 of Cups, with the 3 cups spilt. It's looking at the healing. It's looking at the blessings that you do have. It's looking at the authenticity that is you and saying, but this is me, and I cannot be anybody else but me. And that's going to be why during this time, this isn't going to be a time of like sitting there and sharing everything, because first of all, words get muddled. No matter how you share it, you hold it inward, you hold in your ideas, and you watch them grow. And this is like a fantastic time for journaling. This is a fantastic time for like note keeping, sitting there, making a schedule for yourself, having these long-term goals and seeing yourself watch the plant grow as you nurture these goals, as you nurture these desires, because then we move to the 7 of fire. We move to this place and we have the repeat of the number 7. So this is a time where divinity is really saying, be as open and as honest with yourself as you can, because you'll see with the number 7 that this can be a time where even if you're doing everything right, people will want to call you out. And you can't please everyone. So it's like that song, you can't please everyone, so you have to please yourself. This is going to be a time where you need to be truthful to you. That's going to be so important. And you need to look at what it is that you are desiring from your life, from yourself, from your power forward, and say, this is me. This is where I need to be. And then with the repeat of the number 7, you're also going deeper into the mysticism of you, into the spiritual awareness, into the spiritual awakening. And the 7 of Wands is saying, be very, very mindful of what battles you engage in the public arena, because you can be fighting all the time. You can be. You can sit there and say, oh my gosh, that person's an idiot. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they said that. Oh my gosh, I can't believe they think that. That type of thing. And just have your haunches up all the time. This is a time where you need to step back and say, I don't have that much energy to be giving it to everybody. I need to focus on me. I need to focus on what it is that I desire from my life. I need to focus on what it is that I need to move forward in, so that when you fight, it's kind of like the person who never curses. And when they curse, like everybody like kind of steps back and they're like, oh wow, that person's serious. That's what it's going to be like. It's like, instead of engaging, if you get mad, or the person who's never mad, it's like that old saying, beware the anger of a gentle man. You're going to find that this is a time where you embrace that gentleness, because when the anger comes or when the curse comes out, it means a heck of a lot more than if you were just always angry, if you were just always cursing, that type of thing. So here you're going to find that there's power in the discretion. There's power in not giving everybody your power and not giving everybody your attention. And then there is this renewal of self, this renewal of your connection with divinity, this renewal of your connection with what you desire from life, of what you need, of your heart, of your soul, of where it is that you want to be. It's kind of like a renewal of faith. And it doesn't have to be a dogmatic faith at all. There's more of elasticity of mind, a caring of spirit, an openness of heart. And it leads you then, as you are renewed, as you are awakened, as you are empowered, to really embracing the essence of yourself here, to really embracing you. And as you sit there and you say, this is me, this is who I am, this is who I need to be, this is where I stand within my life. I cannot, be denied. I cannot be anything other than who I am. And if it's kind of like it's like when you're younger and you sit there and you look at people. I used to do this, like, I'm feminine, but I'm not really super, super girly. And I would look at those girls who were super, super girly, and how everybody would just kind of like fawn all over them. The guys would fawn all over them. And I thought, oh, I'm going to try that. And it just didn't work. It was so fake on me, but it worked for them. And here, it's like, it's that. It's kind of like you have to be authentically who it is that you are. And if you try to do what works for somebody else, you're going to find that it just doesn't work. Moving forward in this authenticity might not always be the easiest thing to do or get you liked by as many people, but it's going to be the powerful thing to do. It's going to be the thing that starts opening up these doors, that starts aligning you with your greater vision and your greater goal. And it leads you then to the Six of Waters. It leads you to a release of a lot of negativity that was holding you back, that was spoken over you. It's like a generational curse. It was spoken over you when you were little. And a generational curse isn't necessarily somebody laying a curse upon your family, though, that could be it too. But I see generational curses as those curses that it was the anger. Like your parent, one of your parents or whomever raised you could have been raised being spoken to in a very certain way, in a very angry way. And so they spoke to you like that. Or a teaching of poverty, a teaching of you'll never be smart enough, a teaching of, oh, you'll never be pretty enough. We just don't have these type of blessings. We're not those people type of things. And you're going to see that you're walking out of that curse. And it can just be that the person would sit there and see something in you that they didn't like. And instead of nurturing it out of you, they thought, oh, I'm going to ridicule you about it until you change, until it becomes not a weakness, not something that I see as a weakness within you. So the Six of Water, the Six of Cups, is showing that there is greater power in you than you realize. And you're kind of releasing, you are releasing. You're taking off this cloak is how Spirit is showing me. You're taking off this cloak of negativity, of anger, of despair. And you're going to find this beautiful brilliance within you. You're going to find this beautiful power moving you forward. And it's going to be something that is exquisite. It really is going to be something that is exquisite. There is also going to be a need not to kind of romanticize and fall into the nostalgia of the past with the Six of Cups. But there is also this tremendous power that is moving you forward because you're like, enough is enough. I'm claiming my strength. I'm claiming my way forward. And I will not. It's just so strong within you. It's like, I will not be held back and I will not be giving my energy to fools. So let's go deeper. Aries, Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021. Aries, Mercury retrograde. How will Aries be affected by Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? How will Aries be affected by Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Oh, I'm sorry if you can hear my nephew, my little Aries in the background. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Fantastic. Awesome. And let's see the energy that will be really aiding you during this time, because we focus so much on the negative, and I don't really like to leave things just focused on the negative. Let's see also the positive here, the energy that will build you up. So what is the energy that will be aiding Aries during Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? What is the energy that will be aiding Aries during Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides. Angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. So here you have 3. Do you need 4? No, this is good. Okay. So these are the 3. It's like the 3 blessings of divinity coming forward. So you have here the Queen of Wands, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You are going to be really inspired by embracing your passion and by the people who roll up their sleeves, aren't afraid to get their hands dirty, hard workers, very dedicated. You have to be mindful though, because you do have the Prince of Wands here and you have Sagittarius energy here, both fire sign energies, right? So here you can be kind of caught up because you'll think, oh, they're this. because they're so focused, they're so tremendously involved. But it's going to be different. This person here is going to be too reckless, okay, the Prince of Wands, and the Sagittarius energy, okay, the Temperance energy is going to be out of balance, out of harmony with themselves. They're searching, they're going deeper and deeper and deeper, but you could actually see them as they go deeper. They're kind of getting themselves more out of skew and out of skew and out of skew with who it is that they are and where it is that they're headed and what it is that they want. It's going to be very easy for you to see that energy around them. It's going to be very hard for them to see. So that's a road they have to walk. Then we have the Queen of Pentacles, Earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. You have very strong Earth sign energy within the reading. And so here, this is vibrational energy that just makes sense to you. This is somebody who's grounded, who is centered, who isn't getting caught up in everybody else's nonsense, and who is very much embracing the God's head within them, that sacred power that's hidden within. Because divinity said, oh, you'll never look inward, right? Brahma said, you'll never look inward. You will always look externally to find what it is that you want. So I'll hide what you need right within you. And that's going to be a really powerful thing for you during this time, during this Mercury retrograde, not to be caught up in the chaos of everything that's happening externally, but to look internally and to see the power and to see the grace that moves you forward. And then you have the Princess of Wands. Again, fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. This is a person, this is an energy, because this is, again, energy here. This is an energy that is explorative, exploratory. This is an energy that pushes things forward. This is a person, this is an energy that isn't satisfied simply with the status quo. So be very mindful not to get this energy confused with the Prince of Wands, because the Prince of Wands is going to have the Knight of Wands is going to have a bit of an anger around them, a bit of a conqueror's mentality. This is going to be an energy that is intense, that is creative, that is pushing the boundaries of things, but very, very much in harmony, very gentle, very quiet, very peaceful, very serene. And that's going to be the energy that really feeds you during this time, this level of peace, this level of serenity. So let's see here. We have here the Prince of Winter, which is the Knight of Swords. Then we have the Five of Spring, that is the Five of Wands. The Six of Spring, the Six of Wands. The High Priest, the High Priestess, which is awesome, makes perfect sense. Then you have the Princess of Summer, which is the Queen of Cups. No, the Page of Cups, there we go. And you have the Six of Winter, the Six of Swords. The repeat of the number 6 here is very healing. You have this celebration coming forward with the Queen, with the Six of Spring, with the Six of Wands, there we go. And this sense of moving forward towards your truth with the Six of Swords. Equating these all back to the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. The Five of Swords, okay, something karmic does come up. And that makes perfect sense. If this time is really embracing with our subconscious self, we're going to see the challenges that come up time and time again that have tripped us up, that have made us feel overwhelmed, that make us doubt ourselves. So it's karmic. It's a karmic path. It's that generational curse. It's those things that we sit there and we think, oh, well, that's just kind of, as we're taught, like the cross that we have to bear, that's just my burden to bear my whole entire life. And you're going to find that you're kind of stepping out of it, and it puts you in with life experience. This is the Tower card. So this is pushing you out of your comfort zone. This is divinity pushing you out of your comfort zone by having you see this subconscious truth, like having this subconscious reality brought to the forefront of your mind. And it leads you to the Eight of Summer, the Eight of Cups. You're walking away from what you once thought you would love. You're looking at your path. You're looking at what you desire. And the really cool thing about this Mercury retrograde is that, and especially of this time, like you're not sitting back and saying, oh, well, it's just happening. You're looking at things and saying, no, enough is enough. Now it's time for me to claim my power. Your personal power, your solar plexus chakra is coming forward. It's time for me to claim my personal power. It's time for me to move forward. And as I do so, you are here seeing this intellectual, determined, focus, impulsive, power, just cutting through the doubts and fears, looking at where it is that you want to be. With the Prince of Swords, I always see this as the slayer of the dragons, right? So the dragons for me are symbolically what we use to hoard away and to guard what is most sacred to us, what is most important. So when you hear stories of dragons, right? They capture maidens, they hoard away gold, and you think, what does this giant flying lizard, have to do with any of this? And it's because it's what we fear the most. It's the snake that can fly. And here there is this sense of looking at what we fear most and starting to slay it, starting to sit there and say, no. No, you're not hoarding away my greatest gifts, my greatest powers, my greatest abundance. I call this forward. And then as you claim that as part of your truth, you're also looking at the fact that you're not going to be brought down by the poison of this world. You're not going to be trapped by it anymore. You're coming into unity with yourself. And that's as you ascend the tower, awaken the sacred feminine, and come forward, or the subconscious part of yourself, and come forward. It's very much, for me, it's very much Prince Charming in Sleeping Beauty, where he he slays the dragon, cuts through the brambles, ascends the tower, wakes up the princess. It's waking up that part of you that is so sacred, that is so beautiful, that is so true, that it cannot be held back. And it leads you then to the 5 of spring. It leads you to the 5 of wands. It leads you to that sense of chaos, to that sense of fighting for the sake of fighting, or to the office politics, to the arguments that just come up, the old arguments that never really get healed. And so here you're looking at things and it's like, oh no, I'm not being held back. I'm not being denied. I'm moving forward in my greater understanding, in my greater wisdom, in my greater sense of self. And as I do this, you start to see the part of you that is afraid, because it's being brought to the forefront during this time more than you would like, which isn't fair, but also is going to be very healthy for you. It's going to be very cleansing, very cathartic. And you're going to find that it moves you into embracing the healing waters that are guiding you towards love, towards understanding, towards abundance. And it makes you into this person who celebrates themselves, this person who sees their blessings, who knows, yes, their pitfalls along the way, but sits there and says, I'm pretty darn good. I might not be perfect, but who the heck is? And now you start to celebrate you. You start to celebrate you in beauty, in understanding, in grace, in power of soul. You become that person who calls people forward. It's kind of like having that really great boss. It's that boss that sits there and makes you feel inspired, instead of that boss that everybody scatters away from. You become the person who rules your life like that really wonderful boss. And your heart is astoundingly enlightened during this time. It's going deeper and deeper. You're seeing behind the masks of things. You're seeing behind the falsehoods, behind the facades, behind the ways that people, try to sit there and say, oh no, I have everything under control. And you're sitting there and you're looking at it and you're like, no, you don't, or no, that isn't the truth. And this isn't going to be a time where you want to call people out on things. Also, this is a time where you want to kind of meditate on what you're seeing, because again, communication, the way we can interpret things, can be a bit muddled during this time. So here, it's like looking at things, understanding that you're seeing so much more than what you realize, and letting that really sink into your heart, your soul, your greater truth, your greater power. And it moves you then to being gentle, sensitive, kind, and introspective. It moves you to this greater power of self, because you are also embracing, as you embrace the high priestess, the generosity, the professionalism, the responsibilities, and the practicality that have to be embraced within everyday life. And you take these things to heart. And here you move forward with this sensitive, kind, compassionate, loving nature that opens up doors, that has you connecting with what your heart needs, with what your heart desires, with what your soul wants, with this greater picture of what you need to see and of where you need to be. And it opens then you to taking everything that you've learned as you kind of hold things to yourself, as you gain this understanding and say, and I like that you have the 6 of Swords over the 7 of Swords, that progression downwards to kind of like the countdown. You see yourself moving forward with the knowledge that you need. Now, the roads can be bumpy along the way. It can be a a trip that you didn't expect to be taking within this knowledge, within this sense of self. But it starts to open up the world to you. It starts to open up your understanding. It starts to open up this greater truth. And it leads you to the place that you need to be with the Five of Swords. It leads you to seeing what has been holding you back throughout the generations, okay, throughout the incarnations of your life, throughout the generations of your family. You can find that you're the one who, brings your family out of poverty. That brings, doesn't mean that everybody you have to bring everybody up too, but you can be. You are looking at things and you're saying, no, I'm rising. I'm stopping this. Like, this ends here. This heartbreak, this pain, this disappointment, not having a good marriage or a good relationship, or not, being happy within your life, just merely existing instead of thriving. You're ending that. And you're sitting there and saying, I get to move forward now. I get to move forward and create this beautiful, prosperous, abundant life that calls me into my purpose. And that becomes the renewal of the soul that moves you forward. That becomes what you fight for. And you're not going to be giving your energy to anything that doesn't embrace that fight, that doesn't move you forward in this way. And so that's the Tower. That's why you have been through so many hard times. That's why you've seen things crumble. It could be 16 years of hardships, of pains, of disappointments, of upsets, or 16 upon 16 years. It could be, it just seem like forever. It hasn't ended. 16 months even, for those who haven't been going through a Tower time for quite as long. And you're going to see yourself, sit there. For some, actually, it's going to be since you were 16, but it's that centering around the number 16. And you're going to see yourself starting to look at the way divinity has pushed you, quite literally pushed you out of your comfort zone into what your soul needs to be experiencing in the now to break away from the chains that held you back. And you're going to start to see, like, oh, this is why. This is where I need to be. This is the power of me. This is the place that I want. And you're going to see yourself starting to manifest what you have naturally gravitated towards your whole entire life. That starts to come to the forefront of your existence, of your being. And the Tower, the hardship, the pain, the rubble of the past, you look at it, and instead of sitting there and saying, well, I have to rebuild it exactly as it was, you're like, okay, that's gone. But I get to move forward in the truth of now. I get to move forward in the power of now. I get to move forward in the brilliance that is me. And I know so much more. And I have such a level of compassion and understanding and brilliance that I didn't have before. And it leads you to, again, walking out of those shadows and embracing a path forward that you never thought you would embrace, embracing a truth that you never thought you would have, looking at things more openly, more honestly, more succinctly, and saying, just because I love this once doesn't mean I have to stay there forever. Doesn't mean that I haven't changed as a person. Doesn't mean the situation hasn't changed. Doesn't mean I can't move forward. And now you're starting to see things, and you're starting to see, even if, let's say, you stay at the same job, or you stay in the relationship, and you're looking for happiness to come in, you start changing the joy that is around you. You start changing and calling this joy forward, calling your inner child forward, communicating with divinity, communicating with yourself. So you start to change. You start to change, and that starts to change the game. Now, that can naturally mean that things just change for you. You get, this phone call from somebody that you haven't heard from for a long time. And they're like, hey, I kind of have this job opening. I was thinking of you. What do you think? That happens. Or you are scrolling online and you see this thing that says, oh, well, try being this, or try doing this on the side. Or, you start having a hobby and, doing your hobby more and more because it just brings you so much joy. And then all of a sudden that starts to either balance out your life, like that's the joy that needed to be called in, or it brings you to a place where that hobby can become part of your life purpose, part of what you're building in the here and the now. And that becomes really exciting. It becomes very, 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 very cool. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. So let's see what your spirit animal has to say, your spirit animal message for this Mercury retrograde, the spirit animals that will be protecting you, watching over you. Who will be watching over Aries during Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st? Who will be watching over Aries during Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021? Who will be watching over Aries during Mercury retrograde, January 30th to February 21st, 2021. Angels and spirit guides, show me clearly. Guide this reading and show me clearly. Angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides, angels and spirit guides. Fantastic. So we have here canary spirits, sing your own song. So the canary spirit will be watching over you, telling you to sing your own song, embrace your own truth, move forward in that power. Then we have the wasp spirit. Sometimes life stings. So you will be having, and it sounds funny to say you'll be having the wasp or the things that sting watch over you. It's kind of like we're protecting you from the poison of this time. You know, we're protecting you from the hardships. Not all the time, because this time will sting, but just kind of like that Aquarius energy is really powerful around you. It's going to be taking away some of the bite of that sting, you know, some of the harshness, there we go, of that sting. And then we have the ant spirit, time to collaborate. You know, this is a time where it's funny that the ant spirit is watching over you and saying it's time to collaborate, because this is a time where collaborations can be a little bit iffy. But this is also a time where you start to really see yourself collaborating with spirit, collaborating with the hard shell that you need to be able to put the pieces together, to be able to figure out the riddle that is, you know, the mystery of your existence, the mystery of the why am I here, and the power of you moving forward. Now, your subconscious spirit animal message is the flamingo spirit. Embrace the in-between. Embrace the in-between, and also know that the energy that you take in has profound effect on the energy within you. The energy that is around you has a profound effect on the energy within you. So just be very, very, very mindful of that. You're walking between the spirit world, the earthly plane, and remember, of course, flamingos are white birds that are pink because of the food that they eat. So you are going to be really affected by the food that you eat, by the drinks that you drink, by the, you know, by everything that is around you, by the energy of the people around you. So be very mindful of that. It moves you to your subconscious person message, which is the moon. This is Pisces energy, February 19th to March 20th. This is a time where you find yourself facing fears, facing things that hold you back, that have held you back before. And you're going to find that there's a coming together of the subconscious self and the conscious self, the wild aspect of ourselves and the tamed aspect of ourselves. And you see yourself moving in a greater truth, a greater understanding. You're going to find that you're going to really not be led down the path by fear-mongering, you know, people who are just trying to make you afraid or make you overwhelmed. You're going to sit there and say, no, 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 what do I need? How do I need to move forward? Where is it that I need to be? And that becomes a powerful truth for you. That becomes a powerful transformation. It leads you then to your subconscious chakra message, which is flexibility, the sacral chakra. This is an alleviation of a lot of the pain that is passed down from us from generation to generation within our DNA. This is a lot of pain that comes from our past lives, because the sacral chakra is where that pain is held. And you're going to see that you're embracing a flexibility of mind, spirit, soul, and self that embraces wisdom, that has highly creative energy, you know, come to it, because you are embracing this flexibility, but also highly charged sexual energy that comes around you, that starts to, you know, have you opening up your eyes to things that you hadn't seen before, or a beauty or a sensuality to life that you want to live with, that you want to call forward and be a part of your life. And it doesn't mean that you have to have a partner, because these are difficult times and you might be single. And this can be a time where you start to say, well, how do I embrace the sensuality of myself? How do I embrace the sensuality of my soul? How do I live in that beauty, in that kind of, in that essence of being? And it starts to open up your world to you in a way that you hadn't seen it before, Aries. And it's really quite cool. It's really quite beautiful. And then we have your subconscious tarot message, which is the magician. You're calling forward the magic into your life. You're embracing the elemental self. You're embracing your knowledge, your spiritual, your passion, your groundedness, your steadfastness, and you're calling it all forward. And you're standing before the altar of your existence, and you're saying, this is me. And you're going to find that during this time, what you focus on, you manifest really intensely, especially with the negative. So this is a time where, yes, acknowledge the hardships that that we go through, most definitely, but don't sit there and let it be all that you see, because it will start to manifest within the world or within your world so much more easily than it usually does, because Mercury retrograde brings forward what we fear astoundingly easily. And so here it's a sense of saying, as above, so below, as I think it, so I become. And I am moving forward with the power of my thoughts, connected with divine understanding that moves me into my greatness. And then you go deeper as you call upon this magic. And as magic is quite literally a part of your subconscious life, a part of your life, because your subconscious self is coming forward into your everyday self with Mercury retrograde. And it leads you then to unity once again. It leads you to a very strong connection with the Hierophant, the Taurus energy, with the sense of grounding, with the sense of being the ruler of yourself. Your inner self, your spiritual self, is able to tell your everyday self, okay, your conscious self, what it is that it needs to do, how it is that you need to move forward. You're being very connected with being in harmony with the divine masculine, with the divine feminine, with yourself moving forward towards your grace, towards your understanding, and towards your healing. All right, Aries. I hope this reading has resonated with you. I wish you nothing but light, love, peace, and happiness. May harmony always be with you. May you have a calm, beautiful, and peaceful Mercury retrograde. And may you call upon your power to move you forward in determination, in wisdom, and in a claiming back of the life that you were born to live. So take a nice deep breath in, exhaling whenever it feels comfortable for you. May you move forward in peace and in harmony, Aries.